Mabuhay Ubadayaw. Today we'll be talking about the elements of communication, but before that, let us simply talk what is communication. So, communication in simple terms, it means sharing of information or ideas between people so they can understand each other. And in the communication process, there are elements involved so that it can be a successful communication. So, as you can see in the presentation, the first one, the first element there is the sender. So, the sender, they are the person or those person who sends his or her ideas to another person. They are the ones who convey the message or who formulate the message that will be delivered to the receiver. And the sender is also the person who starts the communication, um, just by sharing the ideas or information or the message that can be interpreted by the receiver. So an example of this one is, a sender is me. So here I am sharing my information, and you are the receiver of this information. Now the second one here is the message. So a message is the idea, or it can be a feeling, even suggestions or guidelines, or any content which is intended to be communicated. Messages, those are the things or words that, the sender provided, or the information provided. So just like this one, the message I am conveying is about, the elements of communication. So in this video, the thing that I'm discussing is the message. Now, in order for and also to for a communication to be successful, a message must, not only be given directly to the receiver, but also it should be stated clearly, or it should be clear and informative, so that the receiver can easily understand it. The message, in simple terms, the message is something that the sender wants to say to the receiver. Another element here is encoding. Now, encoding, it states here that it's the process of converting the idea, thinking, or any component of message into symbols, words, actions, or diagram. Now, decoding, this one deals with how you convey the message, that may be verbally through your words, or talking, or your actions, like our body movements. It can also be through symbols. So, encoding is, the process where our ideas or our thoughts are, turns into word or through action, so that we can deliver it to our audience or to the receiver. So simply, encoding is how we deliver the message, or how we deliver our information. It may be through, just what, like I've said earlier, it may be through actions or words that we formulated. That's encoding. Then next here is, the media or media. Now, media, it's not the same with encoding, because media is the medium or passage or route through which encoded message is passed by the sender to the receiver. Now, the difference with encoding and media is that encoding is the process where we how we deliver the message through words. But here, media, it came with various forms. It may be through face-to-face communication, like talking. It could be through letters, radio, or this one through a video presentation. Now, my idea, how I've shared it to you, is through video presentation. That this one is an example of a media, and how I deliver it to you is through words. So that words is an example of encoding. So next to media is that we have here decoding. Decoding, it means translating the encoded message into language understandable by the receiver. So now, decoding happens when the receiver interprets or analyzes the message sent by the sender. Now this process is made by the receiver. Once the sender delivered the message through various media forms, it is now the task of the receiver to decode the message or translate the message in order for him to understand analyze the message or the information that is sent or delivered by the receiver. So you can also formulate, so if you already decode the message, you can now formulate your feedback, or how will you answer the sender. Next to decoding is we have the receiver. Now the receiver here is the other person whom the message has been sent. It's like what I've said earlier. Now, I am the sender of the information and you are the receiver. Anything that I've said here in this video, it's your task to decode the information so that you can understand it. And you, by doing that, now you are acting as the receiver. The receiver is the person who gets the message from the sender. So I, the receiver, I, the sender, will share my information. Then you are the intended sender of the message. And also, communication is only successful if the receiver understands the message correctly. Simply, we can only say that there is an effective communication when the receiver gets to understand fully the message sent by the sender. Another element here is feedback. Now, feedback is the response by the receiver. It marks the completion of the communication process. So feedback, this happens when you already you already receive and decode the message. Now you will, after receiving the message, you understand it. Now the feedback takes place where you formulate answers that you will also give to the receiver. But feedback may not only be through words, it can also be through reactions or through actions. So feedback also, it shows whether the message was understood correctly or not. So here, if the receiver of the message gives or provide feedback or the right reaction or action that the receiver wants to, either the sender wants the receiver to give this, it means that there is an effective communication. But if the receiver does not give the correct or right reaction or the feedback to the sender, this means that there is something wrong with the communication, or the receiver does not fully understand the message or information sent by the sender. Now, lastly, the last element of communication is noise. Here, noise doesn't only deal with the person, but here it says that it is the hindrance in the process of communication. It can take place at any step in the entire process. It also reduces the accuracy of communication. So noise is simply the hindrance of communication. It does not only it will not only happen during if the sender is giving a message, but it occurs but it may occur during the entire communication process. So noise can be the it can be a language barrier, or literally the noise that you hear when you're having a communication to someone that would hinder the receiver to fully understand the message. A noise may also refer to anything that blocks or disturbs the communication process. Now, an example here is disturbance from the environment, disturbance.
Nag-on ka na, love? Sorry kita kay sabagin ni sila ba? I miss you.
Miss you daw.
Mua.
And also, a receiver can be a noise if the receiver is inattentive, or he or she is not listening properly or not focusing in the communication. That can be a noise. And also, what I've said earlier, improper decoding of the message can also be a noise. Once the receiver of the message does not properly understand or decode the information sent by the sender, then that can be a passively hindrance of the communication.
This part is the step of communication. Number 1 is sender. Let's just say ikaw ang sender na mag-relay og messages sa friend mo na si receiver. Before ka mag-deliver og message, iplano pa nimo ang imong istorya na topic. For example, you are trying to get to know that the person start by asking simple questions that are not too personal to receiver. Number 2 is encoding. Mostly sa mga ginagamit siya sa mga confidential na topic, and that are only two people, which is the sender at si receiver, but usually ginagamit nila ang mga gesture or action to relay the message para mas masabtan nila og tarong imong ginapasabot. Number 3 is messages. Just like sa mga online workers, usually para mas masend ilang mga files or proposal, ginagamit nila ang mga email messages through Messenger or WhatsApp or anything channel. Crucial kasi siya ginagamit para mas dali ninyo mapakita inyong mga call, inyong work through online, kapareha ng mga calls in which are the sample improved that are work through online. Number 4, si decoding. diri which is simplified once na ma-deliver og any message si sender, automatic na ma-receive na ni receiver as long as makasabotay sila og tarong na walay samak or distraction. Number 5, si receiver. Kanina part, si receiver ang nakatanggap og messages from the sender. Let's just say, in Gen Z language, sa mga, for example, mga LOL, ISTJ o verb B, si receiver nakadawat ana og message either kabalo siya sa mga meaning or dili. But dili siya familiar sa mga ISTJ, pwede niya ma-search sa mga source sa mga Google para makabalo siya sa meaning sa word sa ISTJ. And the last is number 6. Just like kay receiver, si sender kay nag-receive po og mga message gikan kay receiver. But like kay receiver, in case of any confusion, pwede niya ma-question from source or as personality to the receiver para sa mga na sila better answer with the confusion.
That's right. Thank you, Grace, for sharing the communication process. And now, we'll talk about the importance of communication. I will give you 7 reasons why communication is important. And on the following, first, it's act as a basic of coordination because it helps connect different people and departments in an organization. Through clear communication, everyone knows the goals and what to do and how to work together. One example of this, when the kitchen staff tell the service staff that the food is ready, they can serve it quickly to the customer. And second reason, it helps in smooth working of an enterprise because a company cannot work properly without good communication. If communication stops, all activities will also stop. And third reason, it's act as a basis of decision making because it gives the right information needed to make good and smart decision. Without communication, we cannot decide well. Fourth reason, it increases managerial efficiency because the manager needs to communicate to give instruction, shares goals, and align tasks and check work. Without communication, a manager cannot do their job effectively. Fifth reason is to promote cooperation and industrial peace because it builds a good relationship between management and workers. Because when there is a good communication, there is harmony and teamwork in an organization. Sixth is it establish effective leadership because a good leader must know how to talk and listen to their team. Strong communication skills help leader guide and influence others. Lastly, it boosts morale and provides motivation because when people feel informed and heard, they feel valued. This increases their motivation and helps create a positive workplace. In conclusion of all of this, communication is very important, especially in every organization. It helps in teamwork, leadership, decision making, and creating a happy and productive environment.
Hala, umiyak na yung president!
Uy, be, okay ka lang?
Hoy, sino nagpaiyak dito?
Be, okay lang yan, be. Iyaan mo na sila, ganyan naman mga ugali ng mga yan eh.
Guys, respeto naman oh.
Parang yun lang eh.
Umiiyak na nga yung tao, di ba? Inelect-elect nyo kami, tas di nyo kami susundin. Matuto kasi kayo sumunod, napapagod din kami.
Uy, be, okay ka lang? Gusto mo tubig? Be, umiiyak ka ba, be? Be, ba't parang...
Hello everyone, I am Ayla and today I am going to discuss the chapter 10 which talks about leadership. So first of all, let me define leadership. So leadership in the presentation says it is an art whereby an individual influences a group of individuals for achieving a common set of goals. But in simple terms, leadership is the process of influencing others to work willingly toward achieving shared goals. It's not just about authority, it's about guiding, motivating, and enabling others to perform at their best. This definition is just like what we have learned from our resource speaker from our team building last July, I think, and it talks about leadership since we are all officers and we are a leader to our program. For example, in a hotel setting, A supervisor who encourages staff during peak hours and helps resolve guest issues is demonstrating leadership, not just managing operations. So leadership, in my own understanding, it's about involving yourself to the situation, involving yourself to the operation as a team or as a subordinate to your colleagues, not just a leader that has the power to give orders, but you are leveling yourself as an equal responsibility on making sure that the event goes well. So other example for leadership is me myself. So I am currently the president of the organization within our program, and I can say that leading is not an easy task because we are dealing with different personality, different attitudes, and it is hard to make them follow the rules, follow the orders because they have their own minds. But despite that challenge, I can say that I enjoy leading because it gives me fulfillment whenever we achieve a successful event, a successful program. I can say that leading is hard but fulfilling. Now let's proceed to the characteristics of leadership. So characteristics of leadership is the characteristics that the leader should have. So you cannot be a leader without these characteristics. So we have 8 characteristics. First is leadership is a process of influence. Leadership is not one-dimensional. Leadership is multifaceted. Leadership is goal-oriented. Leadership is not primarily a particular trait. Leadership is not primarily a formal position. Leadership is not primarily a set of important objectives. And lastly, leadership is not primarily a set of behavior. The first characteristic is leadership is a process of influence. Leadership involves shaping others' attitudes, behaviors, and decisions, not through force but through persuasion, inspiration, and example. In simple terms, leadership is influence. You are not just giving orders, you are not just using your power, but you are using authority to shape others' attitude, to shape others' behavior, for them to develop a leadership-like thinking, leadership-like actions, and it can be done by being a role model and showing what should have be done through your actions. For example, a banquet captain who models punctuality and professionalism influences the team to follow suit. So if you are the leader and you shows punctuality, you values time, you shows professionalism, then your subordinates will definitely follow you, will definitely follow your actions because that's what they can see. But when you are doing the opposite, like you're always late, you don't have professionalism in complicated situations, then your subordinates will most likely do the same thing. Second is leadership is not one-dimensional, so it is not limited to one skill or style. Effective leadership blends emotional, intelligence, strategic thinking, and interpersonal skills. So, as what I've said earlier, leadership is not just giving orders or having an authority or the power to make orders, but it is also it involves emotional, social, and strategic aspect. In short, it also involves empathy. So, as a leader, you're trying to feel what they feel. The third one is leadership is multifaceted. So it involves vision setting, problem solving, communication, and adaptability. Leaders wear many hats depending on the situation. Like for example, during an event, a coordinator handles logistics, motivates volunteers, and communicate with guests. So in simple terms, leadership is doing multitasking. You are not just the leader, you are not just the one giving order, but you are also the vision, the communicator, and the decision maker during an event. Fourth is leadership is goal oriented, and leaders should focus on achieving specific outcomes. Being a leader, you have to have a checklist of what you have to have a checklist for you to ensure that your actions or the actions you are giving to your subordinate is leading towards the goal you have to achieve. And The example for it is a student leader organizing a hospitality competition with clear objectives and deadlines. So setting objectives and deadlines, it helps the student to know their responsibility, that they have to follow the rules and follow the guidelines and objectives for the event to be successful and for it to be aligned with the goal that you have to achieve. The fifth characteristic of leadership is not primarily a particular trait. It's not just charisma or confidence. It is learned and practiced. So you cannot be a leader with just charisma or confidence alone. So leadership is not like that. Leadership can be learned and practiced. And I can say that experience is the perfect practice for leadership because last year I was the vice president, and I can say that it taught me so much to be prepared on what is my position today. And I can say that before I don't have much confidence in leading, but through my experience and through my practice and leadership seminars I have attended, I can say that I am confident enough and I know what I'm doing and I know how to handle different kind of people. And thanks to the learning that I have gained and the practices from my experience. So let me give you another example. As a shy student who plans and leads a successful workshop shows leadership without being naturally outgoing. So when a shy student decide to plan and lead a successful workshop, it shows that without you can still lead without charisma or confidence, as long as you have the passion, you have the will to lead and to achieve a specific goal. The next characteristic is leadership is not primarily a formal position. You don't need a title to lead. Leadership can emerge from any levels when someone takes initiative and support others. So, in simple terms, you can be a leader without title. You can be called a leader as long as you initiate and you support others. So, it is just like having an initiative to lead without you having the title of being a leader. Like for example, a server who helps new staff learn the ropes in leading informally. So you can still be a leader by helping other staff without title. Number 7, leadership is not primarily a set of important objectives. While the goal matters, leadership is more about how those goals are pursued through collaboration, motivation, and ethical decision making. So, as a leader, you don't have just to focus on the goal, but you have to consider also the how the team works, how to motivate them for you to achieve the goal, and how to make ethical decision for the successfulness of the event. And last is leadership is not primarily a set of behaviors. Leadership isn't just about actions. It's about the intention behind them and the impact they have on others.
Managers versus leaders. So let's start with two common questions. Does a manager have to be a leader too? And does a leader have to be a manager as well? The answer to both is not necessarily. A manager can be a leader, but not all managers actually lead. Some simply supervise or delegate some tasks without inspiring others. And on the other hand, a leader doesn't always have to hold a formal position. A leader can naturally emerge from the group because of their influence, passion, or ability to motivate others. It's also possible to be a boss without being a leader. A boss commands, a leader inspires. Here's a few key differences. Managers are appointed. They get their authority from their position or title. Leaders may be appointed or may emerge informally from the group. Managers rely on positional authority to direct their subordinates. And lastly, leaders influence followers beyond formal authority. People follow them because they want to, not because they have to. Managers are people who do things right, while leaders are people who do the right thing. Managers focus on efficiency and order, while leaders focus on vision and purpose. But in the best case scenario, a person can both a manager who leads with influence and empathy.
Now let's proceed to the importance of leadership. So leadership is very important because first, it guides and inspires subordinate. Second, it secures cooperation. Third, it creates confidence. Fourth, it builds in work environment. Five, it maintains discipline. Six, it facilitates integration in organizational and personal goals. Seven, it works as a change agent. And last, it boosts morale. So the first importance of leadership is guides and inspires subordinate. Leaders provide direction and energize others to perform well. Example is a hotel supervisor who shares a vision for excellent guest service and encourages staff to innovate. So, just like what I've said again and again, leadership is not just about giving orders, it's about directing, guiding your subordinates for them to perform well. Next, it secures cooperation. Leadership fosters teamwork and unity, helping people work together towards shared goals. For example, a committee head who facilitates open dialogue during planning meetings to ensure everyone's input is valued. One of the importance of leadership is it secures cooperation. So, securing cooperation shows that your subordinates are being heard, their opinions and suggestions matters. You are considering their ideas. Third is it creates confidence. So, good leaders help others believe in their abilities, reducing fear and hesitation. So, you can create confidence by giving them words of appreciation, awards, and encouraging words for them to know that they have the potential, they have the ability to make that specific work, and it boosts their confidence, it reduces their hesitation and fears on whatever the situation is. And for example, a mentor who reassures a student before their first live demo builds confidence and trust. So the fourth importance of leadership is it builds work environment. Leadership shapes the culture of a team or organization. It promotes respect, safety, and productivity. So one importance of leadership is it builds the work environment. So as a leader, you have to build an environment where everyone feels safe, everyone feels productive, everyone feels heard. And it is very important as it also contributes to the successful event, to the smooth flow of event. For example, a manager who encourages feedback and celebrates small wins creates a positive atmosphere. So feedback can help the organization feel strong as they will know what their weaknesses are, what are the areas for improvement, and it will create unity as it will make the team work together to solve those negative feedback and make the next event a successful one. The fifth importance of leadership is maintains discipline. So leaders uphold standards and ensure accountability, which keeps operations smooth and fair. Like for example, a team lead who calmly address lateness and reinforce expectations without hostility. So leadership ensures that accountability is present to everyone. Meaning, you have to have accountability to your mistakes, which keeps operations smooth and fair. The next importance of leadership is it facilitates integration of organizational and personal goals. So leadership helps align company objectives with individual growth, creating mutual benefit. So, in simple explanation, the company helps their subordinates, their employees, to have individual growth by aligning their special abilities of the employee to the company's objectives. Like for example, a hotel manager who supports staff training helps both the business and the employee succeed. The next importance of leadership is works as a change agent. Leaders drive innovation and improvement, helping teams adapt to new challenges. Like for example, a cafe owner who introduces eco-friendly practices and motivates staff to embrace the change. Lastly, it boosts morale. Leadership uplifts team spirit, especially during stressful times. Like for example, a coordinator who recognizes effort and celebrates milestones keep the team motivated and engaged. So, leadership helps the employee uplift their spirit, uplift or boost their morale by giving appreciation to their efforts and celebrating despite the stressful events or the stressful situations they have faced through the event.
Today we are going to discuss about the principle of leadership. Number 1, know yourself and seek self-improvement. Understand your strengths and weaknesses and always try to improve. So number 2, be technically proficient. Know your job well and familiar with your employees' tasks. Number 3, seek responsibility and, for example, take responsibility for your action and guide your organization to success. Don't blame others and fix problem and move forward. So number 4, make sound decisions. So the example is use problem solving, decision making, and planning. Number 5, set the example. So be a good role model for your employees by doing what you expect of them. Number 6, know your people. So to know your people, always care about your workers. Number 7, keep workers informed. So always communicate the workers efficiently with everyone. Number 8, develop responsibility in worker. Help your worker to develop a good character, trust, and take responsibility. Number 9, ensure understanding. Make sure our tasks are understood, supervised, and completely good communication. Number 10, train as a team. Build with real team, not just a group of people doing individual jobs. Last, use a full capabilities. So, for example, develop team spirit to use organization resources to their fullest potential. So, these are the example of principles of leadership. The types of leadership. Bureaucratic leadership is leadership that follow the strict rules and standard accuracy and use the dangerous work environment where specific procedures are important. Next, the charismatic leadership relies on leadership that personality inspired and influence people. Next is visionary leadership focused on seeing future possibility and creating opportunity for growth. Strategic leadership uses the manager's strategic vision to motivate others and manage employees efficiently. Servant leadership focus on serving others. Substitute for leadership is aspect of the work environment can reduce the need for a leader. Transactional and transformational leadership are the transactional leadership is motivated through reward punishment, while the transformational leadership is the best with clear instruction with authority to the manager. So these are the type of leadership.
Leadership styles. Before we describe the styles, let's make a distinction. The type of leader depends on personality or core traits. In short, kung unsa sila o unsa silang batasan, kung silang traits. The leadership style refers to how a leader directs and motivates others. So kung unsa ilang ginabuhat o kung unsa lang way sa pagbuhat. Here are the three classic leadership styles: the authoritarian or autocratic style. This leader tells subordinates what to do and how to do it. All decision-making powers are centralized in the leader. This style works well if the leader is competent and knowledgeable, especially in urgent or high-pressure situations. However, in this approach, suggestions or initiatives from subordinates are not accepted. It's also important to note that being authoritarian does not mean using foul language, threats, or fear. That's not leadership, that's just unprofessional or bossing people around. Participative style. This is often called democratic leadership. Here, the leader says, let us work together to solve this problem. In this style, the leader involves subordinates, peers, superiors, and other stakeholders in decision making. It encourages teamwork, collaboration, and shared responsibility. This type of leader values input and communication, creating a sense of belonging and mutual trust within the team. Third, free rein or laissez-faire style. This leader says, you take care of the problem. They give maximum freedom to subordinates to decide on policies and methods. This style is used when the leader has full trust and confidence in their team's abilities. It works best with experienced, responsible, and self-motivated employees. However, even with full freedom, the final responsibility still remains with the leader. Contemporary leadership issues. So, to some modern challenges that today's leaders face, first is emotional intelligence. Beyond IQ or technical skills, leader today must have emotional intelligence, the ability to understand, manage, and empathize with emotions. A leader with high EI or emotional intelligence can build stronger relationships, resolve conflicts, and maintain a positive work environment. Second is gender and leadership. Research shows that women managers tend to be more participative than men. This means that they often use a more democratic or inclusive approach, valuing collaboration and open communication. Third, cross-cultural leadership. In today's global organizations, corporations often appoint expatriate leaders, leaders who work in different countries. This requires cultural adaptability, sensitivity, and the ability to lead diverse teams effectively. Fourth, building trust. Lastly, trust and ethics are the foundations of leadership. Corporate scandals such those involving Coca-Cola, PepsiCo, and Satyam reminds us how quickly trust can be lost. A good leader must prioritize integrity, honesty, and transparency to maintain the trust of both employees and the public.
So assertive, or assertive communication. So being assertive means expressing your thoughts, feelings clearly and confidently in a respectful manner. So it's about standing up for yourself na dili ka being rude or too shy sa others. So ang mga key characteristic about of being assertive is are clarity, respect, and confidence. So when we say clarity, charot. Kung may clarity kay ma-express ni mo imong thoughts in a clear way. So, for example mo, like murag, nakay tuyo, nakay gusto kwaon. Kung may yung clarity, dili iani na ko nang murag, balik ko atong ana. So, dili siya clear. So, kung ang meaning sa clarity is dapat, like for example, like murag, excuse me, pwede ko magbalihog sa remote, pakuha ko, ana. Yana siya ang clarity, like, maingon nimo, ma-express nimo unsa imong kailangan, unsa imong tuyo. So, mas dali siya sabton sa imong kaistorya. So, next is the respect. So, being assertive, so kailangan siya na respectful ka while communicating with others. Like, kabalo ka maminaw sa ilahang thoughts, kabalo ka mo value sa ilahang opinion. So, next is confidence. So, for confidence kay kanang maingon nimo firmly and calmly without getting angry or being defensive. So, sabotable naman na siya, no? So, ang pasabot jud sa assertive communication kay it is a communication style of where individual kay ma-express niya iyang thoughts, feelings sa others na being calm and being respectful sa lain and confident siya and clear iyang thoughts na ma-express niya sa lain tao. So ang assertive communication it is a style of communication where ang individual kay express niya yung thoughts, feelings, and needs openly and honestly while respecting others. So, as I said earlier, it involves standing up for oneself na without being passive or aggressive, na ma-ensure niya na clear o direct ang exchange sa thoughts o message sa isa't isa. So, in this video, mag-present ko video. Kana siya. So, kana na video, what do you think? Ano na siya? Example ba na siya sa assertive communication? Charas. So, the answer is no. So, that video kay wala na siya nag-represent of assertive communication. Yes, madungog na to na calm sila ang tono sa ilang pag-istorya, but the way they communicate with each other is not respectful. So, nag-away sila. Siguro makaingon ta kalma sila kay we know na ang Ilonggo kay kalma man jud sila may istorya, maski nag-away na sila, sweet gihapon ilang tono. So, that video is not an example of assertive communication. So now maghatag ko sa inyo example of assertive communication in hospitality industry. So kanang handling reservation issue kanang ayana. So ang scenario ana kay naabot ang guest tapos ilang reservation kay dili makita sa system. So assertive response ato sa isa ka receptionist is something like this na, I apologize for the inconvenience regarding to your reservation. Let me check our system to see what happened, and I will do my best to accommodate you with a room tonight. And if we can't, I help you to find a nearby hotel. And thank you for your patience, and let me get back to you in a while. So ana ang respond. Kalma siya with respect and clear imong thoughts na iingon like murag ipahiwatig sa guest. So mao na siya ang example sa assertive communication. Being calm, being confident, being clear with respect. So that is the assertive communication. So now Mary Cortez will natulog.
Passive communication happens when someone stays quiet and avoid sharing their thoughts or feelings, often because they don't want to cause conflict or upset others. They may speak softly, avoid eye contact, and say things like it doesn't matter to me, even if they actually have a preference. So this style can lead to low self-confidence and feeling unheard. So on the other hand, aggressive communication is when someone forces their opinions or needs on others without respect. So they might yell, interrupt, or use harsh words, focusing only on what they want. So this can damage relationships and make others feel hurt or afraid. So in summary, passive communication is staying quiet and not expressing their thoughts or feelings to avoid conflict. Aggressive communication is forcing opinions or needs on others without respect, while assertive communication is expressing thoughts or feelings clearly and respectfully.